All right. So I'm Dr. Robert O. Wilson Jr. I'm still here with John Allen. John, we just did part one of our video, ROI versus COI. John, for those who might have missed the first part and just coming in on the second part, if you could give them a quick synopsis of your background and what you do, would be really helpful.
Oh. Hi, everyone. I'm John D. Allen, Allen Small Business Coaching. I specialize in helping coaches learn how to sell without selling anything at all. By this, I mean teaching them how to ask better questions so they get better answers. And by doing this, you can get to your prospect's real problem. And when you get to the real problem, that's when they want to deal with you. They don't want to have somebody come in and run off a whole bunch of solutions without even knowing what their problem is. They want to know you understand their problem. As Robert mentioned earlier, I have an article out called Fall in Love with Your Prospect's Problem, Not Your Solution or Program. When you stop and think of it, we as business owners and prospects, we don't talk about solutions. We talk about our problems. So as a business person, rather than offering your solution before you even know what the problem is, find out what their real problem is. Then you can offer your solution, or you may not be able to. That's when the people want to deal with you. We've all been in situations where you say, for example, "Hi, Robert, how are you?" And boom, he's giving you everything under the sun about his business. And he hasn't even stopped to find out whether you have that problem or not, whether you're even interested. But yet, so many of us hear one little snippet of what a person's problem could be, or what we perceive their problem is, and we're often running to solve it. That's what causes a lot of the problems. That's also what causes the chasing game. And we all know that people can run faster than we can. And like I said in the first call, courtesy of the internet and everything else today and cell phones, you get ghosted real quick. So you want to get out of the chasing game. And you do that by finding out what the person's real problem is. Then if you can solve it, you do. And the other thing that comes down to that is you have to decide, not them, you have to decide whether you want that person to be a client or not. Because you don't want to work with people that don't have the same values as you and don't have the same things. So all that does is create a prospect, especially in the coaching industry or a lot of service businesses, that's going to cause you a ton of grief. So work with people that have the same belief system as you, that you feel comfortable with. That'll make life a lot easier and a lot more profitable.
All right. Thanks, John. So for those who may not be familiar with me, I am Dr. Robert L. Wilson Jr. I'm facilitating the conversation. I am the owner of Robert Wilson Consulting, Wilson Global Outreach Solutions, and Global Solution Education and Training Academy. One of the things that we started having this conversation was return on investment versus cost of inaction. And in the first part, or part one, we talked basically about what they were. Here in part two, we want to talk about more application. For those who are new to the channel, I focus on personal, professional leadership and organizational development, and how they can be utilized as an entrepreneur, either to monetize those things, or how they can create better opportunities for you to build rapport and provide better products, programs, and services for your customers or clients. So John, we talked about what return on investment was. We talked about COI, cost of inaction. How do we apply these things as a business owner, or talk to the audience about things that you do in terms of helping some of the folks that you work with in applying these concepts?
A couple of the examples I shared previously was if you're in business and say, for example, you made the family a promise you'd take them on a really nice summer vacation and everything else. Business isn't going the way you expected it to. Now you got to go back and say to the wife and kids, gee, kids, that big summer vacation I promised you isn't going to be there. things haven't worked out the way they should. I didn't do the right things, blah, 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 whatever you want to tell them. What that does is personally and professionally, it's going to affect your business, but it's going to affect your personal relationship as well. Because now the wife and kids, and especially if you've made this promise, like a lot of small business owners have, you know, we all got the greatest, grandest, most wonderful thing, and it's going to produce the world's riches for us. We're going to be rich and famous, etc. When that doesn't happen, and you keep going back to the family, that well soon runs dry. They may say, "Gee, Dad or Mom, that's really great," but in the back of their mind, they're thinking, "Here we go again. This is just another empty promise." So that could be your cost of inaction. What causes that cost of inaction is simply this: you know what you need to do, but you don't do it. And by that, it could be like with Robert dealing in personal and professional development. A lot of people know that, gee, I should do something about myself, to my self-confidence, my self-development. I really got to read that book, or I really got to take that course. But gee, there's a really good set of Netflix coming up. I'm going to watch that instead. Or I'm going to go to the golf course, or I'm going fishing, or I'm going to go do this other stuff. That is the cost of your inaction comes out in many different areas of your life. And it could be a business loss, it could be personal, financial, it could be whatever. The whole concept is, and another area of that, and I mentioned this earlier, for example, is you have accounts receivable. If you don't go to collect that money, you're saying to your customers, well, hey, it's okay not to pay me. I don't need the money. And I said earlier, there's a sale made with every deal. Either the prospect buys your product and becomes a happy customer, or you buy the product and give it to your customer and they get really happy because they don't have to pay for it. Now, that's coming out of your pocket. I don't know about you, but I don't know too many businesses that can afford to keep buying their prospects all their products and not get their money back. That again is a cost of inaction for simply being able to call up your people and say, hey, for example, Robert, we agreed on X number for this product. You haven't paid. All right, when are you going to pay? How are you going to pay? It affects your bottom line. It affects how you are going to do business. Can you afford to keep doing that? I don't know of too many businesses that can. Back to you, Robert.
Thanks, John. Couple of things as you said, that really kind of made me think about how we can add this in or apply this information. One, personally, professionally, you can actually write down the cost of inaction. I don't know if many business owners or entrepreneurs actually count the cost in terms, because typically when we count costs of business and we count the cost of startup, but we don't always count the cost of inaction. What happens if, like, say, for instance, I'm a coach, but I don't up level my skill set, right? So that I can help my clients to have greater breakthroughs, greater results, greater outcomes, or just be more in touch. What about the cost of not understanding sales or marketing in terms of, and I know this happens a lot, and we have this conversation in our learning action networking meetings that meet the third Saturday of every month from 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. For those who might be interested in joining us, it would be great to see you there. But one of the things I think about with that is people not necessarily identifying some of those costs that might negatively impact them. Looks like we lost John for a minute, but and so I'll kind of continue with the conversation, and hopefully he'll be able to reconnect with us soon. But one of the things I think about with the cost of inaction is being able to really brainstorm and strategize about how that might impact your business in terms of either your skill set or outsourcing something, or if you had the capacity to do it, all those things really do matter in the grand scheme of your business. When I think about things like leadership and organizational development, how are you as a leader, or should I say, how are you as an organization developing your leaders? And then also, how are you as a leader developing the people that you lead? In terms of getting a return on investment, what are you investing in the people that are working for you, your employees, in terms of really helping them to be able to perform their jobs at a high level? Or as an organization, how do you streamline your process or your practices that gets the best quality products, programs, and services, but also gets the best out of your employees? Not just looking at what they're producing, but how they're producing, and how you can support them in that process. And so that becomes really helpful and beneficial in the process. And so these are some things that we can talk about a little bit more. I hope this gives you just a snippet of how ROI and COI can really benefit you in the areas of personal development, professional development, leadership development, organizational development. Also, if you're a person that journals, and if your journal, you might go, well, Robert, I do that. So add this to what you journal. If you're a person who has not journaled, maybe starting to write down some of the things that you can do to get a return on your investment. What are some strategies and techniques and methods? Also, what are some of the barriers or challenges of you for you and your business if you don't take action? So those are some things to consider for you as an entrepreneur, for you as a business person or aspiring business person. Uh, if you're interested in more conversations like this, definitely reach out to me or to John. Our contact information will be in the description. Couple things I want to share as we kind of wrap up. I want to thank you very much. Like and subscribe to the channel. If there are topics that you're interested in or things that you want to know more about, definitely reach out to me. Or if you're like, Robert, what other products, programs, or services do you or John provide? Definitely let us know. Thanks.